He has zero excuses. This is the best situation, the best team that he has been on since he played in Golden State. He is lacking nothing with this roster. He have the defense. When you look at the perimeter, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, with this squad, he has no excuses not to go out there and compete for a championship this year.
Last season, the Rockets had one of the best defenses in basketball. Teams couldn't score on them. The problem? They couldn't score either when the game slowed down. So Houston went out and fixed that by adding one of the greatest offensive players in NBA history, Kevin Durant.
Durant. Count it, and the foul. Horford got a piece of him.
To a roster full of young, athletic killers who can already defend at an elite level. The Rockets were supposed to be a project. Now they're a legitimate problem. And this is the version of Houston the NBA never wanted to see. After building through the draft, the Rockets still weren't supposed to be real contenders in a stacked Western Conference. But everything shifted heading into the 23-24 season. Houston brought in Ime Udoka as head coach, instantly changing the culture, and added Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet to guide their young talent. The rise was ridiculous. They went from 14th place in 22-23 with a 22-60 record to 11th the next year at 41-41. Then all the way to second in the West last season at 52-30. But the playoffs were a different animal. The Rockets got stunned in the first round by the 7th-seeded Warriors in 7 games. The frustration was real. This young squad wanted a deep run, maybe even a conference finals. Still, 52 wins and their first playoff appearance since 2020 meant Houston basketball mattered again. The problem was obvious though. They needed a primary offensive weapon. The Rockets had the 5th best defense in the league with a 110.3 defensive rating, but their offense ranked just 12th at 114.9. When the playoff intensity ramped up, that gap became a killer. Houston wanted a star to complement their core, not carry it. Everyone expected them to add a solid offensive piece. What they did instead was land one of the greatest scorers the NBA has ever seen, and to lock him in long term. Durant just signed a 2-year, $90 million extension with Houston, cementing his commitment to this championship push. Now, heading into the 25-26 season, the Rockets are way ahead of schedule. They've built a roster that's young, dominant, and full of potential, now anchored by a future Hall of Famer who can still cook anyone. The Rockets' championship hopes this season depend on how well the young core meshes with Kevin Durant and fixes the flaws that got exposed against Golden State. It starts with Alperen Sengun. He's come a long way from Europe's Basketball Super League MVP that most American fans had barely heard of in 2021, to coming off the bench his rookie year, to making the All-Star team. Now the biggest question is, can Sengun make the leap from first-time All-Star to legitimate superstar? Last season was his breakout. Sengun averaged 19.1 points and 10.3 rebounds, becoming Houston's offensive anchor. Defensively, even without elite rim protection, he thrived in Udoka's system. The Rockets finished 5th in defensive efficiency, and their defensive rating actually improved by 6.6 points per 100 possessions with him on the floor.
If the Rockets just play solid defense.
And then he recovers on Miller and blocks it out of bounds.
Over the summer, the Turkish big man kept grinding. He got more comfortable on the perimeter and showed it off during Eurobasket 25, where he led Turkey on a historic run to the finals. With Durant now drawing all kinds of defensive attention, Sengun will get cleaner looks and more space. Plus, with Fred VanVleet out for the season, Sengun's role as Houston's primary facilitator is about to explode. We saw glimpses during Eurobasket and the preseason. The Rockets ran way more offense through him in the high post, and he was threading passes that had people doing double takes. The Nikola Jokic comparisons might actually become legit this year. Sengun still has some ground to cover, but all signs point to him entering superstar territory at the perfect time for Houston's title run. And then there's Amen Thompson. Zero sophomore slump here. He averaged 14 points and 8 rebounds while becoming one of the most dominant defenders in basketball. When you watch a Rockets game, Amen jumps off the screen. His explosive first step, hang time, and recovery speed make it look like he's playing a different game than everyone else. The results backed it up. First team all defensive, nearly a 5-point scoring bump from his rookie year, and enough playmaking growth that Udoka started trusting him with the ball way more. This season, his offensive role is expanding even further. At 6'7", Amen has size and speed to guard literally anyone. He can lock down point guards, switch onto centers, and protect the rim. Last year, he was the only player in the NBA averaging at least 1.3 blocks and 1.3 steals per game. From chase down blocks to one-man fast breaks, the Amen Thompson show is much-watched basketball. Every NBA fan sees him as one of their brightest young stars in the league. For Houston, he's more than potential, he's their future cornerstone. Jabari Smith Jr. is only 22, but he already carries himself like a vet. He's showing sharper defensive instincts and way more discipline in Udoka's switch-heavy scheme. A hand injury limited him last season, but he still put up 12.2 points, 7 rebounds, and 1.1 assists, numbers that earned him a 5-year, $122 million extension. This preseason made his role crystal clear, with Sengun facilitating from the high post, Amen collapsing defenses, and Durant pulling massive attention. Jabari doesn't need to create in isolation anymore. He's thriving as the finisher Houston envisioned him when drafting him 3rd overall in 2022. He's attacking mismatches, finishing at the rim, and knocking down open threes. He's no longer chasing flashes. He's a part of a core that expects to win.
Jabari for 3 and the win! Yeah! He got it! There's .4 left!
And Tari Eason drew plenty of attention last season as part of the Terror Twins duo with Amen Thompson, an absolute defensive nightmare that became central to Houston's rise. 3 seasons in, Eason has become a coaching staff favourite. Last season, he averaged 12 points, 6.4 rebounds, 1.7 steals, and almost 1 block in under 25 minutes per game. His ability to lock up opposing scorers was huge in Houston, finishing with one of the best defensive ratings in the league. As the Rockets enter real title contention, keeping Eason as their high-energy defensive spark off the bench might be one of their smartest moves. And finally, there's Reed Sheppard. The number 3 pick in the 2024 draft didn't see much playing time as a rookie, but context matters. Houston was winning games, and there just weren't many opportunities for a rookie guard. At Kentucky though, Sheppard shot 52% from 3 while averaging 12.5 points, 4.1 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 2.5 steals. If he can translate even half of that to the NBA level, Houston has another reliable scorer and playmaking option. With most of their young core intact, the Rockets added the ultimate game changer in Kevin Durant. When their playoff run ended against the Warriors, it came down to half-court struggles against an experienced Golden State team. They lacked a go-to scorer and a reliable floor spacer, exactly what Durant brings. Landing KD at the cost of just 2 starters was a no-brainer for GM Rafael Stone, a move that completely redefines Houston's championship timeline. Durant is a certified bucket, 4-time scoring champion, 8th all-time leading scorer, 15-time All-Star, 2-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, and a former league MVP. One of the most efficient scorers ever, and at 37, he's still cooking defenders. Last season, he averaged 26.6 points, 6 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.2 blocks, and nearly a steal per game, shooting 52% from the field and 43% from deep. Those are basically prime Kevin Durant numbers. KD's impact hits hardest in Houston's biggest weakness, isolation scoring. Last season, the Rockets ranked both bottom 3rd in isolation points per possession and half-court efficiency. Now they've added one of the greatest one-on-one scorers ever. And considering Houston's spacing issues, 20th in 3-point attempts, 22nd in makes, 21st in percentage, the fit feels perfect. Durant stretches the floor himself, but his gravity alone will create cleaner looks for guys like Sengun and Jabari Smith, who are creating under heavy pressure all last season. Time will tell if Durant can elevate his offense to a championship level, but here's the thing, you can't win if you can't score, and Kevin Durant guarantees buckets. The best part? KD doesn't have to carry everything. Amen Thompson was all defensive first team and looks like a future All-Star. Sengun is coming off an All-Star season and a dominant Eurobasket. Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, and Reed Sheppard are all developing, while Steven Adams and Dorian Finney-Smith bring playoff experience. For Durant, that means breathing room, a deep roster, a versatile supporting cast, and a coach in Ime Udoka who keeps egos in check. Beyond the scoring and stats, KD's biggest impact might come off the court, mentoring one of the youngest, hungriest locker rooms in the NBA.
Opening frame. Durant with that jab step on the drive, gets contact, gets it up, gets it in.
Just watching him prepare and compete will teach these guys how to win. The Rockets already had the defense. Now they've added arguably the greatest offensive player in NBA history, still performing at an elite level, surrounded by athletic 20-somethings who can take the load off him. On paper, it's the perfect formula. But just when everything seemed perfect after a dream off-season, disaster struck. Fred VanVleet tore his ACL. The injury will sideline him for most of, if not all, of the 25-26 season, creating a massive hole in the backcourt. That leaves Houston with a guard rotation of second-year prospect Reed Sheppard and third-year rising star Amen Thompson. The problem? The Rockets don't have financial flexibility to sign a vet replacement. Sitting right up against the first tax apron, Houston can't even use minimum contracts, so their only option is internal development. But weirdly enough, that might actually work in their favour. Yeah, losing VanVleet hurts. He was a floor general, an experienced voice in a locker room full of young stars, but Udoka isn't panicking. Last season, the Rockets went 11-8 in games VanVleet missed, proof the system works without him. Now that system will probably put Amen Thompson in the driver's seat as a primary ball handler. His speed, size, and defensive instincts make him an elite two-way weapon. But running a half-court offense is still a work in progress. That's where Reed Sheppard comes in. The second-year guard who barely played last season is now thrust into a major role on a team with championship ambitions. Sheppard was the number 3 overall pick in 2024, but his rookie campaign was modest. He played just 12.6 minutes per game, averaging 4.4 points, 1.5 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. Small sample size, but what stood out was how much better he looked when actually given minutes. In every game where Sheppard logged at least 25 minutes, he scored 14 or more points, including a 25-point explosion against OKC and 20 points versus the Clippers. With VanVleet out, Sheppard is getting the opportunity every young guard dreams of. Real minutes, real responsibility, and a chance to show why Houston drafted him so high. It's unrealistic to expect instant production from a guy who barely played last year, but if his preseason is any indication, Houston has reason to be optimistic. Throughout the preseason, Udoka experimented with lineups featuring Sheppard at point guard, and in the final preseason game, the young guard dominated. With most starters resting, Sheppard led the second unit in a 133-115 blowout of Atlanta. In 29 minutes, he put up 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 steals, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. Beyond the numbers, it was the poise that stood out. Sheppard played like a vet. He stripped lazy drivers clean, jumped passing lanes, and anticipated cuts like he was reading minds. On offense, he looked way more decisive. The moment his feet were set, the shot was gone. He moved with confidence, used his handle to create space, and delivered passes that made teammates look better. The biggest moment came when he outplayed Trae Young on both ends. If that performance is any indication, Reed Sheppard might be ready to make a name for himself. Sheppard's performance will definitely impact Houston's title hopes, but it's not make or break. The Rockets built a system that doesn't rely solely on their backcourt to create offense. As we saw in the first 2 preseason games, a lot of playmaking will run through Kevin Durant and especially Alperen Sengun, meaning the pressure on Sheppard won't be overwhelming right away. That said, there will be moments where he has to step up, and if he struggles through the first half, Houston has options. The front office could explore making a trade to add a vet point guard before the trade deadline. Bottom line, the Rockets don't need Sheppard to be a star, just solid. With Durant, Sengun, and a stacked young core handling most of the load, even steady might be all Houston needs to stay in the championship conversation. With Durant on board, it was clear the Rockets would need to adjust their offensive identity to fit the kind of gravity and shot volume he demands. Last season, the scouting report on Houston was simple. Pack the paint, force them to shoot, chase their wings off the line, and wait for the predictable dribble handoff at the top of the key. Now, that strategy is dead. Durant breaks the system, leave him open in the mid-range, he's hitting 55%. Sag off on threes, he's knocking down 43%. Try to contest, you're probably too late. He's 7 feet tall with a release point most defenders can't touch. Suddenly, the dunker spot that was closed off to Amen Thompson last season is wide open because defenses have committed an extra body to KD. Meanwhile, Sengun has more space to operate than ever, and that's dangerous. His ability to pass out of the post or from the top of the key becomes a weapon when defenders are overreacting to Durant. Last season, Sengun averaged 5.6 assists per 36 minutes. In Durant's Rocket debut, he recorded 13 assists in just 28 minutes. That's the blueprint, an offensive duo that bends defenses out of shape. Durant's presence opens the floor for Sengun, while Sengun's playmaking makes Durant's life easier, creating a pick-and-roll combination that could be one of the deadliest in the league. Add Amen Thompson's defensive pressure and transition speed, and the Rockets look like a nightmare matchup for anyone. That said, Ime Udoka will have to walk a fine line between leaning into Houston's size advantage and maintaining offensive fluidity. The double big lineup with Sengun and Steven Adams, which Houston used heavily against Golden State, was dominant on the boards, but it raises questions. Is that a long-term strategy or just a playoff experiment? How does Clint Capella fit in? What happens to Durant's spacing playing next to two bigs? Can Amen Thompson still thrive without the floor shrinking? These are the choices Udoka will still have to make. But the beauty of this roster is its versatility. Houston can go big, go small, or go fast and still be dangerous. Each lineup tells a different story, and all of them point to one thing. This team is deep, adaptable, and ready to make life miserable for the rest of the league. The biggest concern with Houston last season was experience. They were young, talented, but not quite ready for deep playoff runs. Now, with Kevin Durant locked in on a 2-year extension and a young core that's finally settling into their game, this Rockets team might be one of the most dangerous squads in the league. You can't game plan for a team this young, this long, this versatile, and now they've got Durant. This is the version of the Rockets the league never wanted to see, but it's the one we're getting, and it's about to get scary. Let me know how far you think the Rockets will go this season, and as always, hit the like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, maybe check out one of these ones on your screen now.